This is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen. It's 12:01. The rapture started. Take my word for it. Don't take my word for it. Wake up in the morning and deny it. Why not? That's what the world's been doing. Dude, God couldn't have come when you wasn't expecting it. God couldn't come without it. You wasn't ready. God couldn't have come now. It's not fair, huh? We're not ready. That's not fair. Are you guys kidding me? This is not. This was not a fire drill to practice on. This is with God. This is what you've been doing with God for 5,000 years. Ever since man started doing his own will. He had a job at the beginning. The beginning of the job was only to be the caretakers of the garden. He told Adam to name everything there was in the garden. And Eve, he gave him Eve to help so that they created a language. A language that's still spoken today by very few. I don't know who else besides Saddam Hussein spoke it. But Saddam Hussein definitely spoke it. Saddam Hussein was about to declare to the world his relationship to Noah. All Iraqis were Noah's children. All Iraqis were not at the Tower of Babel. All Iraqis learned the only language they ever knew was the language of Noah's language. But when Iraq went to war with the Akkadians for 1,000 years, then the Syrians, the Syrian king, and then with the Iranian king. He always beat the Iranian king. The Iranian king never, even when Belshazzar took over the throne, it was only for a month. So what I'm saying is, but Iraq has never been defeated. Never been defeated, not even by the United States. We did more damage than Alexander the Great. We did more damage than Genghis Khan or the Muslims. Because we plundered the replica temple that Saddam Hussein had built of Nebuchadnezzar's palace. 90% done, or maybe over 95%. It was almost complete when Saddam was trying to come out, and the CIA said he had weapons of mass destruction. And President Bush went along with that, and he started he went after it, and so did everybody else. People are so I don't know what it is. Are you that holdout that you won't want God? You want God to just give an invitation before he comes. Don't come into this world. This world belongs to God. Every piece of ground belongs to God. No government had the right to set up their government, take the land. Oh, this part's mine, this part's mine, this part's mine. And then tear the blanket apart. They do the same thing with the people. A child is born, a child is taken. A child is born, a child is taken. Oh my God. For 5,000 years, God's watched almost all his children persecuted it one way or another. Scared himself because he has no hands and feet and mouth on earth. People wait for him. Joel Steen, you're still here, aren't you, buddy? I wake up in the morning, you're going to still be here. My mom right now. First my dad and my mom. My dad died in January 15th, 2001. First to go. To be with Jesus, I guess. Maybe not. I mean, a lot before others, everybody's going. But the first one I'm thinking of is my father. Because he died first. Then my wife died. I think it was May 22nd, 2001. Then 911 happened. November 11th, 2001. Oh, that was not 2001. That's 2011. No. Yeah, it was 2011. But at least my father, my first wife, and my mother died in 2001. Those three people, that's pretty hard to lose your mother and father and your wife. It's all in that one year. It was pretty tough on me. But they're all Jesus right now. So is Carlos, my ex-wife, Gloria's uncle. I thought so much about. His mother, Aruela, she's up there. Clara's up there. Oh my gosh. Orlando, he's up there. Oscar, one of our good friends. My grandpa Ruth, my grandma Ruth, my grandma Opal. She called her a nanny. My great grandfather Fatuni. I got a whole bunch of things going on in my family, but a lot of my family was famous. My great grandfather was a carriage maker. He was originally a Moor from Spain, but he ended up in Castilla, Spain, in Catalonia, as the head carriage maker for the nobility. Then he had an affair with my, which now was, he had an affair and two women, two children, with my Aunt Carmen Valera, my grandmother, great grandmother Carmen Valera. Then my grandfather was a Fortuny, so she was a Carmen Valera Fortuny. She was rich by nobility, and he was famous. He built building carriages for the rich and stuff. He built the finest carriages in Spain for the nobility. But then when they had a chance to work on the Mercedes Benz, him and his brother they were supposed to be doing body work on it, and they tore the engine apart to see the first engine that they ever seen. And then he turned around, it was only 9 horsepower Mercedes Benz engine, and he built the 190 horsepower engine. Then he built the first motorcycle in Spain. It was a trike with 3 wheels on it, and he delivered groceries with it. Looked like the Harleys today are the ones the policemen used to have here. Pretty big bike. Now this is back in the 1800s, late 1800s. Right? He was exiled because when he said my Aunt Jerusa was born first, and then when my grandpa Juan Fortuny, this junior, got born. He was born in the United States in L.A. But my Carmen Valera, she how do you say, she had him in the hospital in L.A. and they were rich, so they bought pretty much all of Redondo Beach in Los Angeles. And he was an inventor, and he built the flying machine because it worked like a dragonfly with the 80 or 90 horsepower motor. We had blueprints of it, and they mailed it to the city of Los Angeles during the 1930s. The 1930s was the Depression. 1920s was the Roaring 20s. So there was a lot of good money was made in the 1920s, especially by my grandfather then. Because my grandfather worked in Hollywood. Besides being a great mechanic with his father, they had a great mechanic and putting together this helicopter aircraft. Plus, being an extra in Hollywood, making the gangster films. Yeah, he was making the gangster with the double-breasted coats. So when he was standing on the side boards of a car with a machine gun in his hands, and making movies. My great grandmother, which was my dad's mother, had brought my father and his brother to Hollywood, and she got a job in the costumes sewing up the costumes. Of course, see, my father and his brother were put inside an orphanage during the Depression, the height of the Depression. There was nothing they do. The daughters were kept by my grandfather Jensen in Seattle, Washington, and so my brothers were sent to Spokane, Washington, to the orphanage. My grandma Ruth disagreed. She said, "No, I'm going to get my sons, and we're getting away from you. I'm not going to have my sons inside the orphanage." When she was able to, she sold enough stuff, and she got my things, and they headed to California, and they ended up on this, working on finding each other, falling in love in California. This is an amazing story, everything I had. But this is contribute because God right now is rapturing my great grandmother, my great grandfather. That was a very beautiful relationship, right? He was exiled from Spain for fighting her husband in a duel, and he killed him in a duel to get his own children back. Because of the money and the nobility, they were exiled rather than getting a jail sentence or anything. So anyway, that's the part of my parents. Now, my mother's name is Carmen Virginia Malera Fatuni Jensen, because her mother was Carmen Malera. Now, I don't know what the Cooper Mansion has to do with Carmen Malera. I'm not sure. It might have some connection there, because the Malera, anyway, during the 1930s. But there's a lot of money changing hands in the 1930s. But the Great Depression, when the Great Depression started, people bought land up for pennies on the dollar, and they lost land for pennies on the dollar. That's going to happen again right now. The time's up. Now, but you might know evidence tomorrow when you wake up, Joe, you're still going to be here. Your congregation is what happened. Why are you still here? You're still here because you done something wrong. Oh, then you're gonna deny that the rapture took place. What did you want to happen? Why don't you just make out a thing and say, "God, we missed you. Will you come back?" Call Jesus back. Y'all hypocrites. Y'all won't believe tomorrow morning. I guarantee you're going to say, "Well, I don't believe you. It's the same. Nobody disappeared." Oh, yeah, a bunch of people disappeared. You know who disappeared? The people that were in the DNA. All the good that are in DNA. They went to a planet. Jesus say, "I've gone to prepare a place for you." Well, that place was prepared. The animals had already been there. Every animal that's ever died, they never did anything wrong. They went straight to this planet, where there was no fences, where there was no cruelty, and they lived natural lives. People weren't there. I'm not even sure if the animals had to eat there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a whole new world. I don't know what the deal is on that planet. I don't know if they I'm assuming they have feet, and I'm assuming they have hands and a mouth. I'm assuming, and I don't like to assume anything. But I can tell you this: I believe God when He said that He's to come at midnight. That He would come at midnight to announce it, because I've announced it now almost a year. God said it over a year ago, and never changed it. Now, if I'm wrong, well then, when do you think it's not happening? And you're not going to believe it until the sky splits itself open? Well, I'm going to prove it to you tomorrow or Monday. Right now, you got the rest of the day to think about getting God's coin. Everybody better get ready to get their God's coin right now on the 21st. Because when opening bell happens, at the New York Stock Exchange on Monday, the dollar should be falling. No bank should be even taking the dollar. Any form of the dollar, $5 bill, $10 bill, $20 bill, $100 bill, $1,000 bill. They shouldn't be taking the risk. It should be falling like a rock. Elon Musk will have no choice as he watches it fall to buy a God's coin, all in. But he's not going to get the God's coin for $1 a piece. No, they're going to cost him $100,000 a piece. Mm-hmm. So's everybody else that has any money. Well, that's going to make everybody poor. No, it's not. Because I'm going to give every person in the United States $100,000 for being born, or God's coin for being born. The next, if you're 18, you're going to get that 1 to 5 God's coins up front and 1 per month, depending on your job, whether you're a beginner on a job having to learn, to a team leader, which makes 2, to a supervisor that makes 3, to a manager that makes 4, to the owner of any business who makes 5. That's $6 million a year income. Everybody has $1 billion coming from one use. Finally, my ministry collects all the money in the world and redistributes it immediately. Immediately, not holding it. Immediately redistributing to everybody in this world. But every currency is going to go down to 0. When every currency goes down to 0, even the United States national debt, I'll pay it off. Be paying off the national debt. The United States owns 1/4 of the national debt of the whole world at $34 trillion. I'll be paying that off. And then the rest of the $74 trillion, I'll pay that off at pennies on the dollar. I'll absorb every business. Currently there's $770 trillion in assets in this world that I will absorb. Am I taking it from you? Heck, no. I'm giving it right back to you. I'm giving your business back to you. I'm giving your homes back to you. You're going to be able to tear up all your mortgages, tear up all your bills, including your light bill, your water bill, your phone bill. You're going to be able to soon turn that. It's going to be on me. I'm paying those bills, the utilities. I'm going to pay all the utilities and the internet. I'm going to pay everybody's medical, health insurance, coverage, dental, eyes, nursing homes, old folks' homes, any medical. Education's going to be free. Internet's going to be free. We'll find everything out on Monday. But if you don't go, everybody doesn't go straight in there and get your God's coin. Don't worry about getting your money yet, because it goes along with the hard heads like Elon Musk and Joel. They're not paying attention. So if they're not paying attention, you could be there waiting forever. But what's happening? The dollar's going down every second. Every split second, the dollar's going down to nothing. Because he's not paying attention. Joel, your life's just gone down the toilet too. Why? You's a pastor. You was even warned that I tried to warn you of the thing. Now you're going to say it didn't take place. It didn't go the way you were supposed to. It's not the way it happened. It's not true. No, you can't even say that, buddy. You can't weasel out of that. You can't weasel out of that. None of your members can. Nobody can, because that's what's got you in this boat. You didn't keep up with God. You don't care about God. You don't know God. You step on God. You walk away from God. You don't want God. God's basically calling you a hypocrite. No good hypocrites. Yeah, no good hypocrites. Could you imagine God saying that? Yeah, that's what you. The word Shila means listen. Basically, the same thing. You don't realize what you guys did. You walked and stomped on God for the last time, because God is not patient at all. He said, "No, we'll have the rapture, but after the rapture, the test, my final test comes. That's to get the God's coin. And the choice is not yours, because I'm headed to Egypt. And if the United States starts messing with us and does not get into this thing to help us, it doesn't matter, because we're going to go from the smallest countries one at a time, and that's through Africa. And that's cost me a whole lot less, because the God's coin for them is going to start in Burundi, one Burundian franc. There's 3,500 Burundian francs to the dollar. And guess what? They're going to be buying God's coin for 3,500, 0.00034. It's going to get a God's coin of a dollar. And you see how unfair it is? Every country in Africa is getting less than $1.25 a day to live on. College people have 6 years, 8 years of college are making $200 a month. $100 a month, some of them. The supervisors are making $2, maybe a little over $2, almost $3. What is that? A room for me when I stay there is costs $4 a night. Anyway, you missed the rapture. You're still here. Why are you still here? Joel, you was given advance warning. Your church could have had advance warning. Could have had. Right now, it's 1:02, and I'm fixing to have like a birthday cake thing to see all my relatives off to be with Jesus. I don't know what God said this thing, but I tell you what, if I had an interpreter, I don't even think I'd want to know. I'm not an interpreter. I've figured out some of the things over the years of what God said, but not much. But I'm not a person that sits here and speculates. When God says something, I got to believe in God. I certainly am not going to believe in you guys. And you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, well, I don't believe it was true. I don't think God's still going to come after us. Pray all you want, but pray all you want. Do all you want. You know, if you end up in DNA now, that you could spend up to 1,000 years, because there's going to be one more judgment before then. I think the Jews call it Rosh Hashanah or something. And the Rosh Hashanah is the next judgment. That's judging each individual. And probably in another 5 years, 3.5 years. Okay, right now this is a time of peace. It's going to be a time. That's what I'm going to be. I'm not just a peacemaker, but I'm going to bring in everybody in this world is going to turn into a peacemaker. That's 18 and over. And we're going to keep the peace for 3.5 years, and then all hell's going to break loose. When all hell breaks loose, we're going to be certified policemen. We're going to be certified paramedics. We're going to be certified martial artists. We're going to conceal carry. And guess what? We're ready for war. We're going to be ready for war in 3.5 years when the Antichrist comes out. Now, who's the original Antichrist? Paul. In 68 AD. Actually, right after he had Peter crucified, because Peter almost killed him, strangled him. Why? Because he spoke in tongues, and they broke in his house because of Timothy. Timothy wrote a thing in 2 Timothy 3:16. He says, every time you talk about God, he said, they're never here. They're always gone. They leave me with silence, and they take off, and they go, and I don't know where he's going, and he doesn't let me read anything, or see anything, or even talk to me and tell me where he's gone. So I don't know anything about him, and I'm suspicious. Well, guess what? Peter and his brother Andrew and John broke through his home while he was at one of his churches, and they read the things. And one of the big ones was Paul saying, I'd rather speak 5 words of understanding than 10,000 words in tongues. Let me tell you what, you just heard God just a minute ago. And when God speaks, it's not supposed to be interpreted. Unless you got an interpreter. But when God speaks, that means that God is trying to lay it on the line. He knows somebody in that audience ought to be able to hear it, but he's not going to just sit there and make it easy for anybody. Even I should know what he's saying, but I don't know everything he's saying. The point is, when I speak in tongues, that's God speaking. I only give mouth to God, like I give my hands and my feet years ago. You guys got to understand what's going on. You denied Christ already. The fact that you didn't even try. When they was too busy and everything else to see the rapture. It's going on right now. I can feel it. It's still going on. It's going to be going on pretty much all night. See, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, when everybody's still here, guess what? It's not going to happen. Everybody's going to be saying, they missed me. They missed you for a good reason. How far did you go to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ? Yet you told the priest, you're going to hell unless you belong to my church. You're going to hell. All the children are going to hell because they're born in sin. You're brainwashed, indoctrinated fools. You might as well turned into blaspheming God with every other word that come out your mouths, because every bit of it was untrue. It's like God let you into battle, and he put the Ark of the Covenant, put the Ten Commandments and Ark of the Covenant ahead of you. What was in the Ten Commandments? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. Do you know that when Abraham, he was never tested like that. He was going to kill Isaac. He's going to kill Isaac because he wanted to still give his inheritance to Ishmael before he died. But God said no, and he gave him a lamb. He said, don't do this. Don't do this. I told you that Ishmael was going to be like a wild man, and his hand will be against every man, and every man against him. That's why Sarah had Isaac when she was 77 years old. Now you see, God says, I made that thing, that is not right. And he furnished them a ram instead of Isaac. He had to set Abraham straight. But then you guys got Abraham the Ethiopians accepted it, the Orthodox churches, the Russian Orthodox, everybody's still writes this. The Old Testament, the New Testament, and these things in the Bible that are untrue. Y'all you hate each other, but you also go along with each other in almost every phase. And most of it's packed with lies. Pure lies. Don't you realize that if they were killing God first. Then they're killing everybody in the DNA. Then they're killing all the unborn. Because God lives in everybody. Our DNA is also killing everybody. They don't have a chance to be reborn again. Because they're dead. Then the next thing is all the unborn. Y'all missed the boat. Y'all missed the boat all the way. Good night.